Hello, my name is Ben Tice. I work for the Law School Admission Council, the company that makes the LSAT India. Today I'm going to talk about the logical reasoning sections of the exam. There are always two logical reasoning sections on each exam. In these sections you'll read short argumentative passages of 20 to 100 words and answer one or occasionally two questions about each passage. There will be approximately 24 such questions on each LR section and a total of approximately 48 per exam. In essence, logical reasoning questions make up half of the LSAT India. These questions will cover a variety of different subjects and come in a variety of different formats, but let me stress, no specialized background knowledge will be required for any of them. To give you a feel for what these questions can look like, let's consider a sample logical reasoning question. This question is discussed in detail on the website, where the correct and incorrect answers are fully explained. First, focus on the passage. Even though it's much shorter than a reading comprehension passage, notice that it's still a fairly dense and complicated text. Notice also that the passage is giving an argument. Every logical reasoning question concerns reasoning and argumentation in some way. Here, an argument for a conclusion is being advanced. For this passage, the question asked is, the conclusion of the argument is properly drawn if which one of the following is assumed. This is a fairly common type of LR question. As you review the free prep tests online, you'll notice a number of variations on this type of question. The correct answer, in case you're wondering, is D. Again, you can find a complete explanation of this on the website. What other types of questions do we ask in logical reasoning? While I can't give you a complete list, I can highlight a few notable examples. First, which one of the following is the overall conclusion of the argument? As I've mentioned, often logical reasoning passages present an argument, and sometimes we'll simply ask you to identify the conclusion of that argument. Second, which one of the following is most strongly supported by the statements above? This is an important example. Not all logical reasoning passages will present an argument. Some will, so to speak, leave out the conclusion, and it'll be your job to figure out what can be inferred from the statements given. The argument commits which one of the following errors of reasoning? Another important example. Sometimes we will intentionally give you a bad argument, a flawed argument, and ask you to identify the flaw. Finally, which one of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument? And of course we could ask, which one of the following most weakens the argument? Again, this is not intended as a complete list. As you review the free prep tests online, you'll discover a number of other types of LR questions that we commonly ask. There are a couple of important things to note as you prepare for the logical reasoning sections of the LSAT India. First, even though every LR question involves reasoning and argumentation in some way, no specialized training in logic is needed. That said, there are a few basic terms that you need to know. These are terms that we will use on the test, but will not define. Let me stress, we are not using these words in any specialized way. My point is only that you have to know these words to do well on the LSAT India. The terms I have in mind are argument, premise, inference, conclusion, and assumption. Similarly, there are a few other basic terms which, when you see them on the test, you should pay careful attention to. I have in mind quantifier terms like sum and all. For example, if you see the word sum in an LR question, you should make sure you don't mistake that for a claim about all of the things under discussion. Perhaps even more important are indicator words. Words like therefore and thus, which indicate conclusions, or words like because and since, which indicate premises. When you see these words on the test, they can be very helpful because they indicate the structure of the argument. If you look back at the sample LR question we discussed, you'll notice a very conspicuous use of the word thus. In fact, paying attention to that word, thus, is the first clue in understanding that question and getting it right. Let's talk briefly about some tips or strategies for approaching the logical reasoning sections. First, identify the premises and conclusions of the argument. As we've discussed, not all logical reasoning questions will present an argument, but for those that do, figuring out what the conclusion is and what the premises are is absolutely essential to getting the question right. Second, answer the questions only on the basis of the information given, not on the basis of outside information or opinions. As we've discussed, no logical reasoning question, or any question on the LSAT India, will rely on specialized background knowledge. Instead, everything you need will be right there in the question. As we like to say, all you need is reason. Finally, Judge the responses by how well they answer the question that is asked. As you'll see when you look at the free prep tests online, many logical reasoning questions appear on the surface to be very similar, but in fact are different in subtle and important ways. Making sure that you're answering the exact question we're asking is crucial to doing well on the LSAT India. This has been intended as a brief overview of the logical reasoning sections of the test. For further detailed information, please consult the official LSAT India handbook, available on the website or when you register for the test. Thank you, and we wish you great success with the test.